Welcome everyone to episode 17 of Pro Player Plays PGA Tour 2K21. I hope everybody had a great Masters week out there. It was really fun to watch. I thought it was a great tournament this year. Huge congratulations to Scotty Scheffler. I played with him a couple times in college, and it's funny, he was just one of those guys. Apparently I was just one of those guys to him where he just never played well with me. That just happens. Like, that's just part of life, you know. You're not going to play great every round. I played with him a few times, and I was never impressed, but I knew he was good. So it's just kind of funny to see him struggle with me in college. No, he's a good player, and now he's winning the Masters. It's really cool to see. Really happy for him. He's a really nice guy, too. So congrats to Scotty Scheffler, and I hope everybody enjoyed the Masters this year. With that out of the way, let's get into what we're going to focus on today, which is hole number 6, this par 3 over the water. And we just in the last episode finished hole number 5, and it comes right out to the ocean, and now we got this little piece of land right here that we are going to turn into a great par 3. And our goal today is to actually finish the entire hole in one episode. It's going to be a little challenge for us. We're going to try and get everything done from the tee boxes to the green to all of the planting. We are going to get it 100% done, and that way we can finish off this kind of loop that we've had for the last few episodes, where it goes 1, 2 over to here, and then 3, 4, 5, and we've had 7 done since one of the early episodes in this whole series. So 7 is one of our oldest holes out here. So it'll be nice to kind of finish off this side of the golf course, and we're going to do that today with hole number 6. I have a very clear idea of how I want this hole to play out. So first, we are going to get into what the green is going to look like, because we are going to do a similar thing to what we did over here with the retaining wall. The retaining wall is going to go right in front of the green here, and it's going to go just along this part right there with the green just over the back of it. First, let me go and sculpt some of this land, because we want the land to be ready to place everything on top of. And I'm going to do the similar technique that I did over here where I flattened everything first. So let me go in and let's flatten some of this up and get it ready to be built upon. Now that we got the land all prepped, we're ready to start putting down some of these surfaces and start to get this hole, an idea of how this hole is going to play. So let's put our 20 by 20 grid. That has been very helpful in determining some of the scale of our course. And this is going to be the edge of the green here, and we want this to be a pretty wide green, actually. I'm thinking like 20 to maybe even like 25-ish yards. Well, we're going to go for a pretty narrow, but a pretty narrow depth-wise, but very wide green, just so that it's a little bit scary of a shot. It's only going to be about 160 yards, 170 yards, but it's going to be a really nice par 3 over the water. Let's place down some of these distance markers. I think that is the shape of the green that we're going for here. We'll have a little pocket over here. That'll honestly be one of the tougher little areas of the green. It's only about 10 yards deep there. And the green is still the 20-yard deep green, so it's one of the biggest greens on the course, to be honest. This is probably about as big as we have around this place. But I think with it's going to be all retaining wall along here. And it's going to be a very intimidating shot, and we're going to have 3 good pins. One in here, and then one up here up by the water as well. And I think that that's going to be what makes this hole difficult, is you get these pins over here, and you've got to be gutsy, or maybe get lucky, hit a bad shot, and it ends up close, if you're going to get it close to these flags, even though it's only, it's only a 160-yard par 3. Now I want to go in, and I want to actually place my retaining walls, I think, here. I think that's going to be the most important thing that we do on this hole to make sure that this green looks good, is if we can get the retaining walls at the right height And we're going to use that water trick again, just so we can get the surfaces, like the heavy rough surfaces, all the way to the edge of where those retaining walls are. So let's raise up this green a little bit and let's put our retaining walls in. This is going to be a tedious process, so I'm going to do this pretty quickly over the time lapse, but we're going to get this whole thing all squared away just so that we can have our green ready to go. I wanted to talk a little bit, now that we've got this retaining wall in, about why I wanted to use a retaining wall for this hole. And I think in real life, on a hole like this, where it's right up against this kind of ocean inlet, you would want to, there would be a retaining wall built here 100%, because you don't want the green or any of the dirt underneath it to erode into the ocean. So I think this is a really natural spot where you'd want to build a retaining wall. And I think it looks good. I think this is actually going to turn out really nicely. I'm happy with the way the retaining wall has come out on this one in particular. It just looks very flowing. It has a pretty natural arc to it, so I think that part of it's good. But then also, I think it really does make the hole make a lot more sense. You could see a green next to the ocean like this, but it would be very raised up and be very far away from the water. I really want this water to get up close to the green, so I thought it was a very natural decision to have a retaining wall going around it. I did this on the last one where I do this water trick just so that this heavy rough gets all the way to the edge of the retaining wall. And once we get the planting in, it's going to hide this big thing of water that's sticking up. We got the green built and we have all the retaining walls around it. Now let's turn our attention over here to the tee box. And I left this little gap in the trees. I want it to be a rectangular retaining wall built tee box. And it's going to be stuck out in the water, and there's going to be a little bridge going over to it. That's what I have in my mind. I actually haven't tested this. I tested the green a little bit and everything worked there. I maybe should have tested this before I decided to just jump in and build it, but I think we're going to freewheel it here and hope it turns out okay. So wish me luck as I jump in here and start building this tee box. And I know what I want it to look like. I just hope it actually turns out that way. So we're going to get in and we are going to build up this tee box and get the retaining walls built up with it. So here we go. Let's do it. Well, I am pretty bummed about that because I did a lot of work over here just kind of fiddling around with all of this tee box, and I didn't actually record any of it. So all that footage is lost, very sadly. But trust me, you guys did not miss much. That was a lot of a headache with this tee box over here. I tried for, man, it had to be an hour trying to get this retaining wall look around, like what I have over here with this green and with the green over there on too. I tried to get it around this tee box, and for whatever reason, it just would not work. It was not cooperating. and I just really struggled with it. So I think I've really settled on a pretty simple look here. It's going to look a lot better once we have all the planting in. It'll accentuate the bridge a little bit as well, and I think that's going to do just fine. I'm a little bummed how we didn't get the retaining wall look like we have over here, because I think this looks really good, and I wish we could get it over here. But something about the geometric shapes, like the really solid squares with the retaining walls, it's just hard to get that look right. And, you know, I had enough. I tapped out. You know what, I threw in the towel, and that's okay because I think this is going to look good as well. It's a small tee box, but it's meant to be kind of the back tee box anyway, so I'm okay with it being as small as it is. And then you've got the little bridge going out to it. I think that's going to look really good once we get done with it. We are going to continue onward here. I want to actually place the green now because we still only have the measurement tools in, and I'd like to get the green down so we can get a good idea of how this green is going to look. So I'm probably going to sculpt it a little bit, get some of this area flatter back here, because I'm planning to have a couple bunkers maybe here and maybe over here as well. So I want to get everything flat here going up to this hill. So I'm going to flatten that, and then I'm going to put the green down, and we'll see how we're looking right at the end of that. So let's do that. So this is Editing Brock here. This episode, I've already finished the episode. I've been going back through the editing. This episode's been a nightmare. It is hilarious, all the things that have gone wrong with this project today. And yeah, basically, I muted my microphone for basically all of the recordings except the final recording. So all these great things that I'm probably saying in the video right now that I'm pointing out on the green, I don't know what I'm saying. I don't remember because, yeah, part of the problem with this episode is I filmed the first part of it during Masters Week, and then I filmed the second part of it later on. And I think I'm explaining in this clip probably that I got a little sick. I had a tournament come up that I played in, and that took a lot of my time, and I just had a couple of life things come up, and so I didn't get to record this episode back to back to back. And so now here I am in post editing, and I don't even have what I was saying in the video now. So we're just gonna skip right to it. We are going to I eventually at some point in this clip that I'm showing you, I start going over I'm going to start planting it. So we're going to jump right into planting here. We're going to do the whole coastline, as you can see down here at the bottom left. That's what we're going into. And yeah, we're just going to continue moving along like nothing's wrong. And this episode went perfectly. So here we go. Let's get into it. Editing Brock here again, and I did want to pop in again because I did forget about this part of the episode. I thought it was very important what I do here because I actually go through and I get rid of this the water trick that I did, and I thought I needed this water trick to get the grass to go all the way to the edge of the retaining wall there, and I actually don't. And I just decided to rip it out here. I'm like, I'm going to try this out and just see how it looks because it is kind of a pain in the butt. You can see the raised up water, that's the artificial water that's over the top of the ocean and creates that effect. And look, there's a seamless transition there from the rough into the retaining wall. And so I didn't need the raised up water at all. And I think it looks so much better. And I was really happy that I discovered that, because it made my life so much easier not having, it just looks terrible. You can kind of see how the water sticks up. So that was my thought process there, and I'm really happy I decided to do that. Yeah, it was a pretty simple thing that I did, but I think it added, it took away the really artificial nature of that water trick to get the rough to go all the way down. And overall, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So the way I am going to finish this episode, the way that we're going to get to the outro where my audio actually works, I should say, we are just going through and we're going to clean up some of the planting, and then we're going to do that back planting back behind this green up by those bunkers back there. And that's the plan as we finish up this episode. So I'll see you guys in the outro for recording Brock, not post-editing Brock. Thank you guys, appreciate it. just like that, we have finished hole number 6, which actually rounds out this whole section of the golf course. Coming down through here and making this little loop around, we have connected back up with hole 7, which we completed a long time ago, and I am really happy with the progress that we made here today. This was a long episode for me to record. I got a little discouraged midway through this recording because obviously I took like a week break between episodes. I was just really struggling with this hole, and I think part of the reason too was that it's down away from the light. When you're into the light like this, man, this hole looks spectacular, right? And then you come over here and it's just kind of blah. It's not a great look, and it's just one of the shortcomings of this game, really, is it's really tough to create these down sun, if that is a word, I'm making it up. If that's the word, it's just tough to make a hole that looks good, but I'm really happy with where this has come out. The one thing that I want to do to end this episode is I want to make this sand back here just a little bit higher so it kind of pokes out from behind this little piece of brush. I want this sand to come up a little bit, so let's do that. And there's one other thing I had to do, so let's get this poking out first, because I think that's going to help just a little bit by getting this look, by getting this sand to pop up above the green and give it that defined backdrop. Yeah, I think that looks a lot better. But the second thing, obviously, we need to put pins down. We need some pins on this green, so let me quickly go through and let's place some of these pins. I'm thinking pin 1, let's actually use this pretty tough one in this back corner. I think this is a great spot, and it brings in this hazard into play, and I think it's probably the best pin on the hole, to be honest. And I said in the last episode, I want to have a good mix of pins on this course, so I think that is, I don't want pin 1 to be all easy pins. So pin 1 being in a tough spot, I'm pretty happy with that. Let's go to the complete opposite side of the green, right over here to pin 2, and then we can add pin 3 down here, get it in this little bowl. We should have a nice, we're going to have a nice little bowling effect coming down into here, so if you get it to here, you're going to have a good look at making birdie, and if you don't really want to hit it long, you'll have a pretty tricky putt, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. You just really can't end up short, and so that's definitely a good pin right there. And then our final pin, let's just get it pretty close to this tier and pretty close to this left little side as well that rolls down to the left. And we can kind of be pretty aggressive with this pin as well. It's a pretty short hole, we got to remember. This pin, it's only 150 yards. To basically all these pins, it's under 165. So it's a pretty short hole. We are definitely at liberty to get these pins in some crazy spots. And I think that's a pretty good pin. Let me just triple check that these are all accurate. And there we go. We've got the pins and they're all looking good to me. And with that being said, so I do want to address one thing. I left this back area all untouched because of our plant meter situation. We're at 45.6 through 7 holes now. And we really, I mean, obviously we want the front 9 to be finished in under 50, but I don't know that that's going to happen. It's going to be very difficult to do a par 4 and then even a par 5 with hole 9. It could be a long par 4, it could be a par 5, I'm not 100% sure yet, but it's going to be tough to get in under 50. And my idea for this area, I should use this pointer, I wanted this to be a little like a fishing house almost, and have like a dock over here that goes out into the water, and then maybe like a boat house. But I mean, we are severely limited on our plant meter right now, and so I really wanted to just focus on the hole. And then once we get closer to the end of this whole course, I'm going to come back through and I'm going to finish this area. It might be a boathouse. It might have something, some kind of living functionality so that this place looks a little bit more vibrant and alive. But, I mean, if we're out of plant meter, I definitely want to use it for the course first, and then definitely the clubhouse second, because that's probably going to eat up some plant meter as well. I still want to do the Oakland Hills clubhouse that I had planned for an earlier episode. And then also the driving range, we've got to get that done. And then this is kind of comes next on the priority list. So that will be my focus if we end up using this area for a boathouse type structure, or if we end up just planting it and kind of blocking the sight line, because if I don't do a boathouse, that's probably what I do, is just some big bushes back here, just so that you're not distracted from looking at the main parts of the hole, which are this tee box and obviously the green. So With that being said, everybody, that's the end of today's episode. We got hole 6 done. Next episode, we are going to get after hole number 8, and I've got some plans cooking for hole 8. I'm excited. It's going to be a longer par 4, and I really want this to start turning into the challenging stretch of the golf course. We've got some pretty easy holes, in my opinion, up to this point. We got a drivable par 4, a pretty short par 5, not too tough of a par 4 right here. I don't think the course has been terribly difficult up to this point, and I really want to step up the difficulty with some longer par 4s. 8 through 11, I'm looking at some big boy par 4s that are definitely going to be challenging. So with that being said, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And make sure you subscribe if you like what we're doing here. We are going to have plenty more episodes coming, and we'll get back to a regular schedule here shortly. So looking forward to that as well. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, everyone.